Hi there, it's Kevin with Gone Rogue Games. I found out today is National Board Game Day, so what a better way to do a video than talk about something I am very passionate about. I talk a lot about Magic the Gathering, and as you all comment in my comment section, all I do is whine about Magic the Gathering, and you gotta know it comes from like a sense of where we are so married to this game. Whenever there's a bad decision by Wizards of the Coast, it really affects our bottom line. So it stresses out. So let's take a break from talking about Magic the Gathering and all the terrible decisions that Wizards of the Coast has made in the past couple of years, and let's talk about the board games and what I like, what I don't like, or just how I feel about them. So a little bit of history of me. I came from a background of Magic the Gathering, so I made a pro tour in the Dragon's Maze long time ago. It's kind of a fluke. I was actually trying to burn some store credit that I had at a store because I was moving from Salt Lake down to here in beautiful Richfield, Utah, and had some store credit left at a place called Epic Puzzles and Games, and thought I would just enter in a PTQ, that was what was going on, and burn the remainder of my store credit there to enter in a PTQ with my soul sisters for Modern at the time, and end up winning it and got a plane ticket and an invite to Pro Tour Dragon's Maze. And from there, that's kind of what really catapulted my whole YouTube career. Some of you might not know where I came from before Gone Rogue Games. There's a channel called Rogue Deck Builder. That was what I was involved in for many years. I was actually sponsored by a few bigger stores. One of the major ones was Cool Stuff Inc. that used to sponsor me and pay for like traveling expenses and doing videos for them and whatnot. And it was a fun time. It was able to really solidify my desire to do YouTube videos and eventually start a store. And it was kind of a fluke how we started the store too, because it wasn't something I was planning on doing. There just happened to be a store that was going out of business in our area. And that's where I actually met Zach, and we decided we wanted to keep the community going. So we scrounged together what money we had, and we actually built this little humble beginnings here of Gone Rogue Games that is slowly evolved in what it is today. So if you go back to some of our older videos, you can see how tiny we were, and we've just expanded little by little by little. I do not recommend people do it this way. I recommend that you have real jobs and real money before you actually try to start a store, because it has been nothing but a grind. And I think it is only worked because both of us don't have a lot of personal expenses, and we don't have families, and we're able just to really focus on the business and not really need a lot of expenses to keep ourselves alive while doing it. Anyway, board games. So you can see now I carry quite a bit here in the corner of this room here for sale. We try to keep most of the popular titles like the Catans and the Ticket to Rides and all those type of stuff. But board games was something at first I did not like. So I was a Magic player. I was strictly Magic. That's why I liked games. I didn't even like the other games like Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh! It was Magic, and that was the only point to a game store, in my opinion, was Magic the Gathering. And I used to kind of turn my nose up to all the board gamers who would come in or want me to play board games. And I think one of the reasons I have kind of a bad history with board games as far as being introduced to things like Monopoly and Risk. And as a kid, when I was playing Magic the Gathering, which was already a deep game clear back then, and people trying to go from Magic to playing something like Risk or Monopoly or Apples to Apples or those type of games, it's just, they're snooze fests. There's nothing real strategic about them. More of those style of games just have never caught my attention for very long, and so I'd never played board games. And then I just kept getting begged to play. So people will come in and say, Kevin, you got to play this game. You got to play this game. And I tried a couple of times to play board games. And unfortunately, I think one of the times they were playing something like an Arkham Horror, like this type of game here. And again, not my cup of tea. I'm not into these more storytelling games, more of these dice rolling games. And I thought that's just what board games were. So again, not my cup of tea. I'm never going to get interested in like I was in Magic. And there were a few other games that I would try every now and again. And I think it was like a Carcassonne one time they were playing. I'm like, it's kind of fun, but it's just too simplistic. And then fortunately, I was introduced to this game here, which is called Century Golem. Century Spice Gold, Century Golem. I'm sorry for the mirrored view on here. Wonder if I can switch that in my settings somehow. But anyway, the Century Golem is a really strategic game where you just collect cards and then you collect the gems from the cards, and it's really about efficiency and strategy. And these type of games just hooked me on board games to where I started to fall in love with the games like the Zools And even Ticket to Ride is really fun, and Splendor is a really fun game. And then I got introduced to some of these bigger games of here, and so I'm going to kind of go over, since it is Board Game Day, National Board Game Day, some of my favorites. So of course the Terraforming Mars, and maybe we'll flip this around and I will show you some of the games I really, really like. So this bad boy here, Terraforming Mars, was probably the first popular game that really, really caught my attention because it's got the drafting mechanic from Magic the Gathering. So it's super fun for Magic the Gathering, coming from Magic the Gathering with knowing how to draft, and I am kind of a limited player anyway. And this board game just has it all. It's got cards, it's got playing on a board. It's really resource intensive, so you need to manage your resources. And this game was just amazing for me to try to figure out. And nowadays, there's even games like Earth up here and Arc Nova, as you can see, Space Station Phoenix, that are all really intensive resource games. So I've had a lot of fun over the years playing board games. We actually have a very vibrant scene here at Gonro Games that meets every Tuesday. So if you're ever in the area here in Richfield, Utah, definitely come by and play some board games. Oftentimes I cook pizza, as you can see in some of my other videos, and we just have a good time playing board games. So what I really like about board games is they scratch a different itch than Magic the Gathering. I'm always going to be a Magic player. I'm always going to, it's very, very tough for me to find a game that is as perfect as Magic the Gathering, where it's got the strategy and it's got the deck building, the creative outlet, and it's just got, there's nothing that's really come close to being able to catch my attention like that. And I do think that, like, I've talked on this channel so much about the Gathering is the important part of Magic the Gathering. Same thing with board games. I know these suckers exist now in online forms, but the same thing with Magic Arena, Magic Online. I think the beauty of board games and Magic is that you're person-to-person socializing. For me, being a millennial, I'm not into bowling, I'm not into golf, I'm not into going to the bar. And so game stores were always my social life. It's a way for me to meet friends, a way for me to blow off steam, a way for me to express my creativity. And board games and Magic the Gathering were a very, very important time, or important part of kind of my life. I remember when I used to work for Conway Trucking, I would just look forward to Friday at Magic, like slave away on those hot docks loading trucks all week, and then I just look forward to Friday Night Magic, or now in this instance, look forward to board game night, where I can just, let my hair down and relax and have a fun, enjoyable time. That I don't think, you could do that with like video games, but I've never got the same fulfillment with video games that I have with like tabletop games, with board games and card games and whatnot. So I have a high respect for the board game genre. I'm glad that it's had such a revival. Over the past decade. We've seen just board games take off, where they've really grown in like the creative space that they've been able to accomplish, just kind of the mechanics of board games. If you haven't played, this is my suggestion to you Magic players that might be coming from Magic. If you think of board games like Catan or Monopoly or Risk or some of these older games, you need to take another look at board games, because they are a lot more depth, or there's a lot more depth than that period of board games. Now, I have a lot of respect for Catan. I think that it did a lot for the board game kind of genre, but if that was what board games still were, with a lot of dice rolling and just like luck, I wouldn't be as enchanted as I am with these type of games. But they have come, like I said, a long way. So it's so much fun to pick up a board game, try it out, play it, and have a good old time with your broskies on a Tuesday night, playing some board games. And it's awesome too, because I've met some really good friends over the years through board games. Of course, through Magic the Gathering, but also through board games, because like I said, the social aspect of it is really, really fun. And now family events and whatnot, we're always taking board games. When I go to the lake, to Lake Powell, we always bring a big old box of, got my clothes. Like, I'll have to take one trip to the car to go get my clothes and all of my things to live for a week, and then I got to take another trip to go get all my fishing equipment, which is bags and bags of stuff. And then lastly, the biggest trip is to go get the boxes full of board games, because I know we are going to play board game after board game when kind of during the downtime or the hot time during the lake. So really, really fun. Love board games. I'm interested in the comment section what your favorite board games are. Again, it's like, this is kind of funny with store owners. What I've seen with a lot of people that actually get into creating the LGSs is this seems to create as many stores as like the hardcore Magic players that want to start a store. So I see that this is mainly the type of, I'm going to go in here because some customers are coming in real quick, but mainly the personality that actually starts board games or start stores or are into board games, then they reluctantly carry Magic and realize that Magic's the big breadwinner. But you can kind of see my back room back here of all my personal board games. I'll have to show it off sometime. But anyway, I got some customers coming in, so I'm going to go and see what they are up to. And I will, looking forward to your comments in the comment section below of what board games you actually prefer and if you're into them. So again, happy National Board Game Day, and I'll see you next time.